We'd like to thank the following sponsors.
Today, I would like to introduce our panelists. We have Paul Bush. He is the Vice President of Quality and Technical Services for Vitro Architectural America. Paul has over 30 years of experience in the glass industry. He was the Director of Technical Services for PPG before the merger with Vitro Architectural. He earned his Bachelor of Science degree in Electrical Engineering from the University of Pittsburgh, and he is also the current NGA Advocacy Committee Chair. My name is Urmilla Sowell, and I'm the Technical and Advocacy Director for the National Glass Association. I have about a little bit over 20 years of experience in the glass and glazing fenestration industry, and help run all of NGA's technical and advocacy initiatives. I have both my bachelor as well as master's degree from civil engineering from Texas Tech University, and also a licensed professional engineer. I have also Karen Wegert, who's the Associate Director of Technical Services for NGA. Karen has 20 years of experience in the glass industry. She manages all of the NGA's technical and advocacy committees and expedites the technical publication process. Her experience in the glass industry includes Tesla in Buffalo, New York, as well as Schott in Louisville, Kentucky. She earned both her bachelor as well as master's degree in chemical engineering from the University of Louisville. Welcome to all of our panelists. So I want to let you know a little bit about NGA, the National Glass Association. We have a vision of where we envision a future in which glass is the material of choice to enhance spaces where people live, play, learn, work, and heal. And the Advocacy Committee, which is within the National Glass Association, it pretty much defends any changes harmful to the entire industry. We like to promote the positive attributes of glazing in the entire building and the construction sector. I'll take it over to Paul now so he can go ahead and continue with our advocacy update.
Good afternoon, everyone. Paul Bush from Vitro Architectural Glass. The advocacy team is working on several different issues, and I'll just give you a couple examples of those. We've got bird-friendly glazing, and we'll get into these further as we go along in the presentation. The California AB 262 legislative issue. There's several local energy issues that the GICC committee is continuing to handle on day-to-day basis and is doing a good job at. And we're developing on several of these what we call one page that we would be able to provide to local code officials or to legislators, depending on what we're trying to accomplish with the actual issue. And those will be available, to people from the NGA website, and they can go forward with to their audience as they see fit. I think the group is really in its infancy, and we're still looking for ideas. We've got several that are keeping us busy, but if there's new ones out there, suggestions from anyone that's NGA members or otherwise, we'd be happy to hear those. We'll talk a little bit about the one pagers that are out there. And I think the issue there is to be able to make them short and concise so that when we have people's attention, they can get the idea of what we're actually asking for. This is advocacy, so there's a request involved, and we need to give them a background situation and issue that's out there, what the supporting information is that we have for our position, and then the actual requests that we're making. And as we develop these, we're taking input from the NGA members through the consensus process, and then developing the one-page document. They're on the website. They can be emailed, printed, so you can physically hand this to somebody that you're trying to get persuaded to the position, or you can send it to them with an introductory email as you see fit. As the slide says here, they're available at the website at glass.org. The new Green Deal, this created quite a stir when it first came out. The good news, though, is that the actual substance of the new Green Deal is not as dire as the title says, and we still can do all glass buildings in New York City. The key here is that they do want them to be energy efficient, all glass buildings, and that's actually good for the industry. I think the the more often that we can be a part of contributing to energy efficiency, the better we're going to be seen in everyone's eyes. So this sounded dire when it came out. It's not really the situation, but it is going to require that we use energy efficient products going forward in that area. Bird-friendly glazing design. This is one of the areas where we did come up with what I call a quad chart or a one-pager. We did submit comments to this as well for the Canadian legislation that's out there, and the technical paper was published by the fabricating committee. And so there's several pieces out there that one can use to either promote this in your area or support if there's questions that you get on what bird-friendly glazing is. And it just gives you the opportunity to provide answers that are coming from NGA, that are consensus developed, and also the ability, if you want to promote bird-friendly glazing legislation in your area, you've got some pieces that you can send to your local legislators to try and get that done. This is an example of the actual one-pager that's out there. This is the one for bird-friendly glazing. We are still tweaking the format, so you may see a few changes as we go forward with this. But as you can see, it describes the issue, it describes our strategy, and then at the top center there, it actually has what the request is, in this case, to implement bird-friendly glazing in those areas that are migratory for birds. And this, again, can be shared with legislators, or it can be shared as a tool that answers questions about what the specific topic is. Flat glass EPDs, another area where the forming committee has been doing a lot of work. And I can tell you that the forming committee members of NGA either already have their own individual EPDs or in the process of working on them. And then NGA has developed the industry EPD as well. There's a lot of work that goes on to get to this part. There's the product category rules that need developed, and then there's the life cycle analysis that needs done. And the reason that's driving this currently is that there's several states that are looking at using global warming potential as a number to make decisions on glass and glazing, as well as other materials in the building. And so this will help those legislators and code officials look to see that we are meeting those requirements. There is also a one-pager on this that describes our position. And I think the key is here, this is a new initiative looking at global warming potential. We made the request per this one-page document that the threshold be established at 20% above the industry average. And that's a negotiating position that we're going forward with. It's not being too extreme because we want to be recognized as credible here, so that we felt that 20% was a legitimate request, and it keeps everybody in the game so that they can participate with their products initially here. And I'm sure, just like other code things, this will be ratcheted down over time. It's going to continue to either stay the same or be improved upon. It's not going to get added to as far as being allowing more global warming potential. So it's important that we start at a level where people can have their products participate and then work over time to reduce the global warming potentials of those products. I'll turn this over at this point to Karen.
Thank you, Paul. I'd just like to go through one of our advocacy initiatives this year was drafting FAQs for California AB 262, the new legislation there. You can find a link to the FAQs on our website, and also in your digital handout, there's a live link there. So what is AB 262? Also known as the Buy Clean California Act. It requires that bidders on public works projects in California submit an EPD for specific building materials, including flat glass. So the public works authorities that are included in AB 262 are listed here, along with key legislation dates. The main point is that the Department of General Services in California is required to publish a maximum acceptable global warming potential. And the target is embedded carbon emissions, and flat glass is one of the products. The other specified products are steel and mineral wool board insulation. So the main issue is how they define flat glass versus processed glass. So AB 262 defines flat glass as float or rolled glass that is clear or tinted, which is a good definition. But the problem is that float glass and flat glass manufacturers are several steps removed from the final product that gets installed in public works buildings. And that supply chain also includes glass fabricators, contract glazers, general contractors, and then the glass is most certainly already processed glass by the time it's installed in the building. It may be cut to size or heat treated. It may be laminated, insulating, or decorative. So why does AB 262 reference flat glass when buildings are glazed with processed glass? NGA did submit a letter to the Department of General Services clarifying this topic. And unfortunately, the language has already been passed into law and it's limited to flat glass. So to further complicate things, AB 262 requires a facility-specific manufacturer EPD so that the environmental impacts can be attributed to a single manufacturer and a single manufacturing facility. But facility-specific EPDs would be impractical for the glass industry because the project is typically sourced from multiple glass manufacturing sites and locations. So in addition to that, disclosure of facility-specific data could disclose business-sensitive confidential data that could be competitively disadvantageous. So none of the currently published EPDs for flat glass are facility-specific. Each of them is product-specific. Lastly, can the global warming potential data found in different EPD documents be compared? So in order to compare the data, there are many factors that have to be the same. So for example, the same background data, same electricity mix, same calculation method. Are the products actually comparable? Was the same standard used? Therefore, it's a big question, and you have to be really careful when comparing. You have to have the same LCA, the same product category rules must be used. So that's the major issue there. So our committee is working on, our advocacy and forming committees are working on an educational task group. Paul, would you like to talk us through those activities?
This, the building code official education is one of the areas where we're working today. And the topic up there, how to incorporate the use of daylight for health and wellness in the International Building Code. You can go to the next slide. You know, at this point, we've got a couple handouts there, these giveaway pens that have the pull out banner. It's something that, you know, when I first got this, I threw it in my briefcase and I looked at it initially and said, okay, it's a good idea. I threw it in my briefcase. And then actually it was a couple weeks later, I went to get a pen. I pulled it out and I'm like, hey, you know, this has some pretty good information on it. It's a nice way to have it out there. And it serves as a reminder that every time you pick up that pen, you see that pull out thing there, you tend to pull it out and look at it again and remind yourself the benefits of daylighting and views and what that does as far as getting glass into the building. So this was a neat tool that I thought the task group came up with, and we're working on other things in this same area, and we're going to end up writing a proposal for GICC to consider to actually get some language into the document itself. This is just showing you the web page where daylighting for the health and wellness benefits of daylighting is located. You can go on and pull the information from there. And if you want to get some of those pens to hand out, you can talk to Urmilla and others at NGA staff. I'll turn this back over to Karen for the COVID items that we're working on.
Thanks, Paul. Yes, so NGA took the initiative early in the COVID-19 crisis to try to be a support for our member companies. And one of the first things that we did was to write letters to governors explaining that glass melting furnaces are essential and that shutting them down on short notice has some serious financial and safety implications. And so we made these letters available for member companies to be able to use if they were facing that in their location that they were being forced to shut down. We also wrote our glass barriers technical paper. So this is the benefits of using glass for personal protective barriers. I think we've all seen these in our factories and in our retail shops where we go out. Often plastic is used, but glass could be a far superior material for this application, especially for barriers that are going to be permanent or semi-permanent. And the third thing is NGA advocated for allowing cross-border travel of glass industry technicians. So these are technicians that need to travel from country to country to work on machinery. And we submitted this letter explaining why that's essential and why that should be allowed.
And I would just add to Karen's comments there, NGA did write a letter on Vitro's behalf to some of the Pennsylvania legislators that were involved in making decisions on the whole COVID shutdown process. And it's very helpful, in addition to a company's own government relations efforts, to have a third party like NGA come in and also support the same type of position of keeping people open and operating. And we were able to do that thanks in part to NGA's support for all of our facilities during this time period. So it does work, and you know, if you need NGA support, that's why we're here. So please reach out. This I believe last slide that we're talking about here is some of the committee task group work that's upcoming. The task group's going to meet. There'll be a doodle poll that goes out very shortly. And the items that you see up here on the screen, the Daylight for Health and Wellness, the EPD education, the envelope backstop, will all be topics there. The timing is being driven by the envelope backstop work. California is going to come out with a proposal very shortly here for envelope backstops in their code. And as we all know, that what happens in California typically works its way across the country. So we want to be very involved in this California backstop proposal, and the team will be reviewing that. I think the California piece is going to require a response within 4 weeks. So the meeting for our task group will be in early August to try and craft the NGA's response to that. So if you'd like to participate, please reach out to staff. We'd be happy to have you involved. I think that wraps us up. Urmilla or Karen, do you have any final words?
Sure. Just reiterate what you said, Paul, that the Advocacy Committee is part of the National Glass Association, and as members and as industry, we're here to help promote glass and glazing and making sure that glass stays in buildings. Reach out to any one of us, and we'll be able to work on some of our advocacy efforts. And as always, it's always good to have different voices. So if you're a member and you're interested in partaking and being part of the advocacy team, please let us know. Thank you so much again.